Hi everybody, this is Ellen. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the Happy Snow Cone. I think it turned out super adorable. I made it with the different colors on top, and I am going to show you how to do that because everybody loves rainbow snow cones, at least I do, so it's not terribly difficult to do, especially if you've done a lot of my other Happy Foods, but the thing is that the top it is kind of time consuming because if you can see in there are wrapped bands, but we cannot do them before we loom them, so you kind of have to go along as we loom stuff out, then put the wrap bands on. It's not, because of the way the design grows up, if we just put them on beforehand, all the little wrap bands would be underneath the top, and that wouldn't be quite the effect we were looking for, so making the top will take longer, but then the rest of it is fairly straightforward, so kind of be prepared for that. Band-wise, there are 152 white bands, and then if you do each of the colors like I have for the rainbow top, it's 22 bands per color for the top part. Or if you're just going to do, kind of ignore the coloring that I show you how to do, in total that'd be around 132 bands then for the top snow cone portion. So I also have two clear in here for where they connect, although you could use whatever you wanted, a white band or something, or just one of the colors of the other ones around. And then of course the 7mm pony beads for the eyes or wrapped bands, so two black bands there, then the mouth, and then the cheeks as well. So hopefully that all made sense. It's all squishy. So I think it's super cute. I love snow cones. Alright, so first we'll talk about the eyes and the cheeks, so we can get those ready ahead of time at least. So you can either use beads or you can use a wrapped band for the eye. So you'll want, if you're going to use the bead, you're going to want to find something that'll fit through the center of your bead. I'm just using a piece of craft wire, but you can use floss, string, thread, fishing line, anything you can get into the shape of a V. And put two bands, the color of your cone, whatever color you're going to make that, into the center of that V. Close it up, take your bead, thread it through, pull it all the way down, then you have a beaded eye band. And if you don't have beads you want to use, then you can use a black band or whatever color you want the eyes to be. You put it on the hook, wrap it around once into a figure 8. You can see figure 8. Grab both bands, wrap it around one more time, and then pull through two bands the color of your cup or your cone, like this. So that would be a wrapped eye band. The cheeks are made the same way as the eye bands are, so it's just one band, whatever color you want the cheeks to be, on your hook, wrap it around into a figure 8, grab both bands, wrap them around again, and then pull through two bands the color of your cone. Like so. So you'll need two of these, you'll need two eyes. I guess unless you want to make a pirate, then you can have one eye. Make him an eye patch. And then we'll have the mouth band later, but... Alright, so, growing up design. And what I've mentioned before will make this take a little bit longer, is that we kind of do... I'm going to do the color changes to show you how they're done. Because I know a lot of times I make things and like, how did you make that so colorful? So I'm just going to show you. And those of you who don't want the colors, you don't have to. But first, we're going to start with making this little edge row on the side of the cone, which will kind of help with the transition between the top of the snow cone and the cone itself. So, how we're going to do that is take whatever color you want to be your cone color. I'm going to use white still. Take one band, just kind of start, I'm going to start up on the 4th pin here from the wrong end of the loom. I'm going to take a band and go to the right, and we'll go up over 5 pins. So we're crossing these bands as we go up. So 5 pins but 4 bands, so starting here and going up, we're basically making our 12 pin circle to start with. So then once you've gone up the 4 bands on the side, come back towards the center, and then just come back to where we started. Doing the same thing with the crossed band. It's just 1 band. I didn't specify, sorry. So wrap band all the way, or crossed band all the way around on 12 pins. Then you go right over the top of that with 1 band, just regular. If you hear plastic rustling, it's my cat. She's decided that she's going to lick the plastic bag that I brought down from when I went to the store earlier. So that's what that annoying noise is. It's kind of a weirdo. So all the way around. Now, when we loop this, we are going to loop from the inside to the outside. So normally we'd come over here and pull them over, but then the kind of little ruffled edge would be on the inside, and that wouldn't help us very much when we pulled it up. So, coming from the inside, we're going to just do what we normally do, grab those 2 bottom bands and pull them up over the top of the pin. So now I have all the kind of ruffled bands on the outside. You'll do that all the way around. Bottom 2 bands up over the top of the pin towards the outside. Just keep going around. This is kind of, it will kind of get in the way and kind of be annoying at times, but it's better than taking off the bands off the pin and then pulling this up through later, so at least I think so. Hopefully you will agree. It'd be like, if we didn't do it this way, it'd have to be like how I made the hamburger. So if you know what I'm talking about there, you will hopefully agree. Like so. So now we have the kind of the ruffled edge on the outside, and then on the inside you can look, and there's just 2 bands wrapped around on the pins. So now what you want to do is push this down, as far down as you can get it. So if you want to follow my color scheme, you can do that. Otherwise you can just do all the same color bands, however you want to. I will say that the colors that I'm going to do here are going to be a little bit different. Just the orange, green, and yellow will actually be in the front instead of the purple, green, or purple, blue, and red. So I just kind of wanted to change them up, but you can move the colors around as you want to. So I'll just show you kind of how to do that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start up here on this top pin, and we're going to put orange bands, 4 orange bands. So 4 orange. Next pin over clockwise, it's going to be 6 orange. Next one down, it's going to be 4 yellow. And because we have this white or a border to our cone here, these don't fall down as far as they normally do, so kind of be aware that they might fall off as you're going along. So just either put them back on, or you can pull them up if you get to a point and you're like, I don't have a band, so don't worry about that too much, but just kind of have them in the general area will be good. So 4 orange, 6 orange, 4 yellow, 6 yellow, and we're going to do 4 green right below the yellow, and then 6 green on the corner down here. Then at the very bottom we're going to have 4 blue, And then on this corner it's 6 blue. And then coming back up here, it's going to be 4 purple. Next one up is 6 purple. And then finally, we're going to have 4 red. And then 6 red. Alright, so now that I have these on here, I'll kind of explain a little bit more about how this gets kind of segregated to little color wedges. If you're going to change your colors, like say you want to do just a red and orange one, these two would stay red, then orange, red, and orange. I mean, you can totally alternate it and make it just kind of spotty rainbow if you want to, but if you want them to be together into like the little, these look like triangle wedges to me, I guess. If you want them to be together, then the colors have to be on the pins that they are. So if you don't want, this is going to be the face side over here. If you don't want the orange, yellow, and green to be up on the face side by the eyes, then you can rotate these around as you want, but you just have to still have, like, don't put a red here and a red here and expect them to be in the same kind of little group, because they will divide up and be different from how I have it. So you want to have the oranges here, the yellows here, don't shift it, I guess is what I'm saying. So hopefully that kind of helps, makes a little sense. Just trying to explain. So now what we're going to do is fill up the center. So we want to have, from this pin here, we're going to go up into like a chicken foot. The band that's going to go to the left, or bands, it's going to be 2 red. Right there. The bands that go up are going to be 2 orange. And the bands that go to the right are 2 yellow. So again, if you shift your colors around, you're going to want to shift the colors right here as well. So then from this pin right here, we're going to go down in the chicken foot again. So again, to the left, it's going to be 2 purple. Straight down will be 2 blue. And then to the right will be the 2 green. Like that. And I apologize for those of you who just want a straight color, and you're going to have to listen to me talk about the colors, but I think it's pretty. Okay, so now on this pin right here, we're going to do our cap band. This is where I use the 2 clear bands, but you can use whatever bands you want. You can't really see them up top anyways, so 2 bands 3 times around this pin. Like that. Now what we're going to do is go through that cap band we just put on, and you're going to loom out all the bands underneath. So you're going to grab the top 2 bands, which are my yellow, pull them back towards themselves, then grab the orange, pull those back, and then the red. Like that. And then once you're here, we need to start doing the wrapped bands that we put on. Using a latch hook would be a good idea. We can only do a few of them at a time, and preloading doesn't necessarily work because you don't know what the next one will be, except for the very last thing that we do. If you have an extra hook or want to, you can preload some on there with, it'd be 2 of every color around So, or 12. Just kind of have them towards the end, but you don't have to, because we all got to get there. But, so now what we want to wrap are the red, orange, and yellow bands, so you're going to need a red, orange, and yellow band. I'm using the latch hook. You can use the rainbow loom hook still, but it's just a little bit faster with the latch hook. And I haven't done wrap bands for a while, so gotta get back into them. So take your band, and put it on your hook, wrap it around once into that figure 8 again. Take both bands and wrap them around again. So the same thing we do for the eyes and the cheeks is just the same thing for our wrapped bands. Now I'm going to put on enough for the red, orange, and yellow that we need to do now. So like that. Then, of course, I always say, oh, I need to do red, orange, and yellow, so I put the red, orange, and yellow on my hook. I almost instantly go for the red first when actually I need to go for the yellow. I do it every time, so hopefully you don't notice it too much. What you're going to do is just hook the very top band on that yellow, and then that's where you'll slide down your wrapped band. And just replace it back onto the pin. Do the same thing for the orange. And the red. Like so. And we can't do these ahead of time because if the wrap band is already on there, all the wrap bands are going to end up being on the bottom side, which will not work. So, but once you have that, we'll loom out the next spot here for bands. So we're going to go in through the orange little cap band we created here, going through there, and you're going to grab 2 orange bands off of this top pin. Pull them up through and back onto the pin. Then go through this spot again. Grab 2 orange bands off the right pin. And once these are all locked in, that'll be a little bit easier. So off that one, and then we'll come over here and we're going to grab 2 red bands. There. So now these won't fall off. So we need to do wrap bands again, so it'll be 2 orange and a red. So we'll get them loaded up again. And then just slide them onto their bright band. So with my reds first, just grabbing that top band, sliding down, and then orange, and the other orange. Like that. So now we're going to go into this red one over here, and we're going to loom through and grab the bands on the other sides. So I'm going to go through, and I'm going to first grab the 2 red from up top here. Pull those through without snagging everything else. Put them back onto the pin. Then I'm going to come down and grab one of the purple bands. Pull them up through. Then we can go ahead and pull up one last band over here. I'm going to find the top 2 bands if I can. Pull them out with my fingers. I'm going to go in through here, loop them, both ends on my hook. Then I'm going to take this off the pin, and what's on my hook is going back on the pin. So I'm going to do wrap bands again, so it'll be red, red, and purple. So top 2 bands, and slide down your wrap band. And this one's kind of loose here, so just because of how it's squished. Top 2 here. Like so. So we'll go ahead and do the other side. So in through the yellow over here. Grab the top 2 orange bands from up here on the top pin. Pull them through. Then come down and get 2 yellow bands from the pin down here. Pull those through. And then the same thing. I'm going to find the top 2 bands. Pull them out. Hook them. Both ends on my hook. And then put what's on my hook onto the pin. So then wrap bands again. Orange, yellow, and yellow. Put these on. Goes the orange and the yellow. And the last yellow. Like that. So now these 5 pins up here, you should still have 2 bands underneath with the same color. So we're going to move down and do the other end down here. So you're going to want to pick up your cap band and you're going to want to pull it down to on top of here. It's a little bit of a stretch, but get these other bands on the other sides of the pins. That usually helps to kind of bring it down. So we want to loom out our bands here. So first it'll be the green. The 2 bands there, and the blue, oops, blue, and purple, like so. So we need to do the wrap bands for these. So it'll be green, blue, and purple. I think this is a latch hook that I didn't. My latch is a little loose, so it's kind of annoying. I keep hitting it and it slides back too easy. Let's go ahead and put these on. So top 2 bands. Like that. Then once again we're going to go through here, which is my blue bands. We're going to grab the 2 bands off of this lower pin. You can turn your loom around too if it's easier. Then we'll go through that same spot. We'll grab 2 bands, or 2 blue bands off this left pin. And then 2 bands off the right pin. Like that. And then wrapped bands again. Green, blue, blue. Like that. And put these on. I think I'm getting a cold. Sorry if I sniffle. We had really nice weather the other day. Now it's cold again. So it can't make up its mind. That kind of messes with my health. So like that. So now we'll go in through. Let's go through the green. We're going to grab 2 yellow bands off of the upper pin. Bring those back. And then 2 green bands off the lower pin. Then grab the top two bands on this pin, hook them, pull them up like you're going to loom them, and back onto the pin. Then we'll do the wrap bands, so 2 green and a yellow. So the green one. Next green one. And yellow. And we're almost done with the very top part. So we'll go in through this purple one now on the other side. I'm going to grab 2 bands from up top. Two bands from below. And again, find the top 2 bands on this pin. Pull them out, hook them on your hook, and put it on the pin. So then the wrap bands again. So it'll be 2 purple and a blue. And put these on. Like that. So you still should have 2 bands underneath every pin. If you don't, it's alright, you can just pull them up. What we do next. Looks neat. It's always kind of a pain when you don't grab that bottom one. So I'm just pulling these out. I must have not pulled up the top ones when I did something, and so I trapped them incorrectly, so I'll just have to pull those up. But so this is what you should have now. You should have 2 bands underneath every pin, or under every color here. So now what we're going to do is puff our bands around. So it's 2 bands. Either you should have the bands underneath, so you're just going to pull them out, go in through all the bands on the pin, just grab those purple or whatever color bands you have there and pull those up. Do not grab that snow cone row that we have on there. And pull those off the pin and put it back on. And if you're like me and you missed a band or you have something that was not where it was supposed to be, just the same thing. Go through all the bands, hook 2 bands, pull them up, both ends on the hook, everything off the pin, and then put it back onto that pin, what's on your hook. So we're just going to do that all the way around. Grab those bands, pull them out, hook them on your hook, off the pin, and back on. Just do that all the way around. for the top ones, just because they're kind of harder for me to get my fingers in there, or I don't want to stretch the bands too much, I just throw them on a pin, bring it up and hook it, go through both, and then put them back on the pin. I'm actually doing really well this time, because last time when I went through and hooked all these to puff them, I kept snagging the bottom top row that I told you not to snag. It's kind of annoying. You probably know that I said that I'm going to have that problem. That was not the right bands. See, I told you. Shouldn't have said anything. Of course, I didn't snag the white band, it was something else. That was the white band. Couple more. Like so. So we have everything puffed, and we just have that white row underneath. And now what we're going to do is we need to add our final wrapped bands, and this is where I said a preloaded hook would come in handy if you had one. 2 of each color if you're doing the rainbow. Because we're just going to go around, same as we did before, pick up the top 2 bands from now our puffing row. And that's not the band I want first. I want purple first. Top 2 bands, then slide a band down, and then put the bands back onto the pen. And just do that around for every puff part. This just helps to give it a little bit more height. If you're going to have a snow cone, it needs to be big. Snow cones remind me of roller skating. That was when we usually had them. It's actually a pretty good roller skater. Or speed skating is more what I would do. Not all the jumps and tricks, but it was more what we call jam skates, or basically kind of racing is what we would do. It's pretty fun. It's been a few years since I've been on skates. I'll have to get back out there. With winter coming, gotta find some more indoor activities to do on the 2 cold days. Aren't too many places that have roller rinks though. Alright, so I added a wrapped band to all of my puffed bands around the outside. So now what we're going to do is, if you haven't changed your colors majorly, or if you're using all the same color, you're just going to take 2 bands and go all the way around your circle. If you have changed colors like I have, you have to do what I call a transition row. So you have to like in between here, it would just be a yellow band, but then as you rotate, the yellow and the green meet right between where we have a band. So we have to kind of make a little transition band here so that they don't kind of bleed over into each other so much. Like, so I don't have a purple band that comes way over to this side into the blue. Just kind of helps a little bit. It's not a huge deal. But I think it looks a little better that way. So, if you have the same layout as me, we'll start over here. There'll be 2 blue bands. Then we'll do a transition between the blue and the green. So you'll need a blue band and a green, or I'm not colorblind, a green band and a blue band. And I do it on my fingers, but I just basically kind of put one on top of the other, grab one band through the other, then grab the other band. And instead of pulling tight for a slip knot, I capture them on both sides. So normally, like if you know how to make the slip knots, this is kind of normally how people do it. But we don't actually complete the slip knot. I want both ends kind of folded over each other. And I'll show you how to make it on the loom in a second too. So like that. Then you just want to get that spot in the middle between the colors. And if that happens, put it back. So our next spot here will be green, 2 bands. So we have a green and yellow. So if you don't have, if you can't quite figure out what I'm doing with my fingers, just take whatever you're transitioning between. I have a green and a yellow. What I'm going to do is, it doesn't really matter how you put them on the pins, just whatever one's on bottom, go ahead and hook that and pull it back towards itself. And then go in through our little spot now from where we brought over that band. Grab that, in this case the yellow band, in between that center and pull it back to its pin. So then you'll grab both ends, and this is the same exact thing that I did on my fingers. So we want the green next to the green pin, like that, and 2 yellow, because it's in between where the colors are. And we need a orange and a yellow transition. Then 2 orange. Then an orange to a red. Then a 2 red. Then red to purple. And 2 purple. Purple to blue. Like that. So now we have the transitions all the way around. And like I said, if you do different colors, maybe you make kind of like a wider section to be one color, you just have to do the transition between the colors. Or if it's all one color, then just all the way around with 2 bands. Don't worry about the transition bands. So what we're going to do is flip over the puffing bands from the last round, or last row. So it's going to be the bottom. We're still not messing with the cone, the top of the cone. It's just the bottom 4 bands from the last row that we did over the top 4. I know that I snagged a lot of stuff doing this. Because I always just want to go all the way down and grab the bands, but you can't because the white bands are in the way. So this might take you a minute to do, or you'll beat me. Snag the white one. We're almost ready to get that one out of the way. The white one's below, but just about done. Alright, so you should have kind of the big bunch of bands from the white row, and then each of your pins should have 4 bands of color, or the top for your snow cone. So now what we're going to do is, whatever color your cup is, we are going to puff with those bands. So my cup is going to be white, so I'm just going to go around. This will be the last puffing that we do. I'm going to go in through just the colored bands on top, or the snow cone bands that you have. Grab 2 bands that are the color of my cup, pull them up through both ends on my hook, pull off the bands, and then put the cup bands onto the pin. And we're going to do that all the way around. Gives us a nice divide between the top and the bottom. Almost done. One more to go here. Like that. So now I have everything puffed with the cup color bands. So now what we're going to do is bring up our cone rim. So I have the 4 bands that are from what we just did with the puffing, and underneath that there's actually 2 bands around the pin, and then all this kind of stuff on the outside. You just go in and grab those 2 bands and kind of go behind all that stuff, or all the kind of rim there, pull it over the top of the pin. I'm going to do that all the way around the loom. last one here. Like so. So you should have 4 bands left on every pin around then. Go ahead and push those down. This row that we do now is going to be a double or a doubled band row. So we're going to take 1 band and double it, and that's going to go between every pin all the way around. Like so. So now you're going to flip over the bottom 4 all the way around over the top doubled bands we just put on. Push those down, and at any time if you need to, you can puff up the center. Just let it come up. Make sure your bands are pushed down. This row is going to be our eye row, so you'll need your eye bands. So right here will be two bands and 2 more bands, and then your eyes are going to go right here. Kind of generally, I stick with the 7mm pony beads because I think they look good on pretty much every design. All the way around, 2 bands for the rest. But I know that some of the designs that I've put out, people have used the larger beads, probably because it's harder to find the 7mm pony beads. But some of them definitely look adorable with the larger eyes, and the ones who've even some of the kind of weirder beads that I would be kind of surprised at, they look really good too. So like that. So then you're going to pull over the doubled bands from the last row, so it looks like there's 4 bands. So go ahead and pull those over the top. All the way around. Like that. They should have 4 bands on every pin still. Push those down. Next is our cheek row. So you want your cheek bands. Same thing, 2 regular bands in each spot, and then the cheeks are going to go right by the eyes. And then 2 bands all the way around the rest. Oops. Like so. Flip over the bottom 4. This up a little more. Push your bands down on your pin. Next we're going to add the mouth. So you want whatever color you want to use for your mouth. I use black because it shows up well. A lot of people ask me why I use black and not like pink or red or something. I just like using the black ones. It's kind of more a cartoony drawing in my mind. But take that band, put it on your hook, and just wrap it around one time to have that figure 8. Then on the front side between the cheeks here, you'll go snag up the bands that are on this pin, pull them off the pin, slide down your mouth band, and then put the bands back onto the pin. So now what we're going to do is reduce, and we're going to reduce this pin here on the right top, lower right, and then in the back in the middle. So for this pin up here, you go in and you grab the top 2 bands. You see I have a nice divide there, so I have the right 2. They're coming from the top pin, so they're going to come down to this lower pin, and the other 2 bands are going to go up top. And then down here on this corner, grab the top 2 bands, mine are coming from the top pin over here, so they're going to come down to the bottom. This is an extra one. Then grab the other ones and put them up to the top pin. And then in the back, on the top 2 bands, pull them up. Mine are coming from the lower pin, so they're going to go up top, and the other ones will go down. So push all your stuff down. Then we're going to do a row around. So 2 bands. I start here at the point on the bottom. It's going to be a long cross up there, and then normal for 2, and a long one up to the top over here, and then 2 normal, and a long one along the back side, and then 2 normal. Like that, kind of a weird shape. So now, if I start back here on this side, this pin just has the bottom 4 bands to go over. This next pin down is going to have a reducing band, or 2 reducing bands, however you look at it, and then the bottom 4 to go over. This one, there shouldn't be anything on it. The next pin will have a reducing band and the 4 bands underneath of it. And then here we'll have 4 bands. On this bottom pin, there's going to be a reducing band, and then the 4 pins or 4 bands below. And right here, reducing band, and the 4 bands below. And right here it'll be 4 bands in the middle. On the end pin be the reducing band and the 4 bands below. Then up top here you're going to have a reducing band and the 4 below. So push your bands down. Now we're going to reduce again. This time we're going to reduce kind of the opposite, so it's going to be the top corner up here, the one right in front of the face, and then the lower corner. So starting up here at this corner, same thing, we'll grab the top two bands. Mine are coming from the lower pin, so they're going to go to the upper pin, and the other ones will come down. And down here, top two bands, they're coming from the lower, so they're going to go upper, and the other ones will come down. And then in front of the face, top two bands, mine are coming from the top band, so they're going to come down to the bottom, and the other one will go to the top. Push everything down. We'll do another row around, two bands, so it'll be a long stretch, another long stretch, another long stretch. Basically it's long stretches all the way around. And another one. One on the back side. And then right here. Looks like a boat. So now, this pin, starting here, you have a reducing band and the 4 bands below. Down here on this pin be the reducing band and the 4 bands below. This pin will have a reducing band and the 4 bands below. Then right here we'll have the reducing band and the 4 bands below. Nothing for here. This pin will have the reducing band and the 4 bands below. And then this end one will have a reducing band and then the 4 bands below. Like so. So now we're going to reduce again. This time it'll be these long ends that are kind of poking out. So if you want to grab the top 2 bands, see where they're coming from. Mine are coming from the left, so they're going to come over to the right. The other ones will go to the left. Do the same thing on the other end. Top 2 bands. Mine are coming from the left, so they're going to go to the right. And the other ones will go to the left. Now we're just kind of on 4 pins. So we'll do a row around, 2 bands, 2 bands. All the way around. Like that. So now we are going to have a reducing band and the bottom 4. We have a reducing band and the bottom 4. Same thing over here, reducing band, bottom 4, reducing band, and bottom 4. Like that. So we're actually going to reduce one more time. So we can just reduce the front pin and the back pin. So I'll find again the top 2. Mine are coming from the back, so they're going to come up here to the front corner. Make sure you push those down good. And the other ones will go to the back corner. And on the back, top 2, not top 2. There we go. These ones are coming from the back side, so they're going to come to the front, and the other ones will go to the back. And it is a bit of a stretch, so take your time getting them over there. So that looks like this. Go ahead and push those down as far as you can. It'll help with the next part. So we're going to take 2 bands and come around the front, and then take another 2 and come around the back. So because it is a stretch, you kind of want to get as close as you can to the body. Like that. So now on each pin here, you're going to have a reducing, actually 2 sets of reducing bands. So here's one reducing band and the other reducing band, and then the bottom 4. Which I don't know why I'm doing it from the back side, but bottom 4. And we'll do the same thing over here. So there'll be 1 set of reducing bands and another set, and then the bottom 4. And kind of give it a tug up. Then you can go ahead and take your hook, grab both ends, and I use 2 bands to close it. You can use 1 if you want. I think it'll still be alright. I take 2 bands, pull it through, everything that was on my hook, both ends on, do a slip knot by pulling the first couple loops through the next ones. And before I tie it tight, I'm going to kind of grab these front bands that are on the loops that I have, pull my knot behind, and then tie tight. Then I'll come up through the back side somewhere, grab those bands, pull them in. Not too tight, so you want that helps with the point of the cone. Then you want to go ahead and give this guy a stretch, help with the reducing bands and how we kind of moved them around a little bit. I do notice sometimes at the bottom where we kind of pulled it tight, you might have to loosen the bands back up a little bit because of the stretch that was there. If your snow cone curves a little bit. But super cute. Super, super cute. They look good. Let me have to go make some snow cones. I hope that you enjoyed them as well. I know the top part's kind of time consuming and takes a little bit, but it's not. After that, it's pretty quick and easy, so hopefully you made it through that and it was alright after that. If you make these guys, I would definitely love to see them on my Instagram, which is at Crafting Fantastic, or on my Facebook page, which is Crafting Fantastic or Feelin' Spiffy. You should find me. There is also a link underneath the video in the description if you need that. And then, of course, if you subscribe to my channel, you will know when I come out with new designs to share with all of you, which is definitely appreciated when you do that. When you do my designs, because everybody's been super supportive, which is awesome. And I'm still kind of working out the upload schedule, so if you're watching this you can kind of get a little ahead of everybody else, but trying to find good days to put things out so that people can actually have the time to loom them, so they're not waiting all week to do that, because I know school started and a lot of kids are wanting to put tutorial out. If I put it out on Monday, then kids are like, oh, but I gotta go to school today and I don't have time because of homework, and you know, I feel bad about that. I liked kids to be able to enjoy, you know, responsibilities first, of course, like my children will tell you, but I also like kids to be able to enjoy things and have fun as well, and not, you know, wait too long for the enjoyable things after they've done well with school. So, but I will hopefully figure out a schedule here before too long, so then maybe it'll be easier for people to know when I'm coming out with new things. But I just want to say that I definitely appreciate you guys watching and taking the time out of your busy lives to take some time for yourself to enjoy looming, and especially for the, I have a lot of moms that are loomers, and they mostly loom stuff for their kids, so I think that's awesome too. But thanks again for watching. I definitely appreciate it, and I will have more for you soon.